You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Well, they got a point, ... Today we're going to be moral victory, guys. Nick Alberga Jay Rosehill, the Friday edition of Leafs Morning Take presented by Bet365. How we feeling, Rosie? Happy Friday, buddy.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. I'm like, we're all over the moral victories here, feeling pretty good about a loss. I think it's where they're at, and it's what you got to take with this group and what they're putting on the ice and the injuries they're dealing with. It's funny, like we feel better about last night than we have some of the wins in the past when they were healthy, but still yet to be seen, man. I wish we could fast forward to getting this team healthy and see if they can come up with the same type of efforts and whatnot, and then all of a sudden they're one of the better teams and we can start to get behind them a little bit more. But yeah, right now we're stuck in moral victory territory.
Well, that's the caveat. They were missing 6 regulars because Scott Laughton returned last night. He was phenomenal. We'll get to him. But that's why I can't make a full analysis on this game. Like, I left that game wondering why. Why do the Maple Leafs always play better when half their team is out? Like, and you can speak to this. You're the former player. We've had so many different people, guests on this show. We've asked the very same question. We'll ask Gary Leeman coming up in about 25 minutes. It makes absolutely no sense. So is this team finally turning the corner and taking a step in the right direction, or are they just playing desperate and urgent right now because the guys are down?
That's the thing, right? Like we were begging them to, it's like an effort and attitude. Like right now they're trying to be resilient and their backs are against the wall. They're going through adversity. They're depleted and guys have to step up and they know every night's going to be this big challenge. It's got to be like that every single night with your full lineup. Like it's the National Hockey League. You guys are trying to build towards better. You have this new, look to your roster and you're down one of your top players and Marner leaving and you're trying to, come up with a better hockey team that's more well-rounded. And they haven't when they're fully healthy. And again, then it's there when they're depleted, but they're not good enough to beat Columbus. And it's just like, I don't know what they're going to be. I want them to get healthy, obviously. But like, wouldn't it be Leafy if they get healthy and then go back to playing scrambly dickhead hockey? Like it's yet to be seen, I guess, but trying to stay positive. It's like, at least the players in that room right now are feeling what they need to do and are presenting good starts and close to 60-minute efforts, and their commitment to details and defense is looking better. So I hope to hell they can do it with the full roster, because again, this team is a hell of a lot better when they're healthy than they were showing at the beginning of the year. I hope that this rubs off on the team as a collective when they get their bodies back. But history kind of shows that they step up when their backs are against the wall. They need to learn how to step up all the bloody time, and I guess all we can say is we'll see.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre. I can't really knock the game last night outside of maybe the Domi play in OT. But I mean, when you're tired and you've had a long game, like, not to make excuses for him, it was not a good play. Fantilli comes back, even the pivot to try to hunt down Fantilli, who just blew by him. He was outstanding, was Fantilli last night, 2-1. Now has 6 goals in 8 career games against his hometown Maple Leafs. But I can't knock the work ethic. Like they played their bags off. I mean, to quote my interview there with Nick Robertson, like I saw a lot of engagement up and down that lineup. Like that was the most engaged I've seen Willie Nylander this season. The blue line was one cohesive unit. They were, making smarter plays. The puck management was there. Like, I know we're not moral victory guys, but I think there's a lot of positives you can grab from that game last night. Like I left that game. I didn't want to soil myself. So we'll start somewhere. Okay.
And still lost. Like it's such a funny thing. Like, can we have it both ways, please? But again, I would love to fast forward, man. If we can get Stoli back between the pipes to help Joseph Woll out and to 1-2 again, Woll looks like he is stepping up and grabbing the reins of the goaltender position, which is fantastic. We have yet to see both goalies healthy at this point in the season, which is tough to say. I mean, down Tanev, down Carlo, down Matthew Nyes. We've been down Laughton the whole time. We're down Austin Matthews. I would love to see that effort and that attitude with those guys back. They can crawl out of this hole. Like, it's so funny. You can look at two different sides. Like they're just horrendous numbers, 28th to 32nd in the league, and chances against, rush chances, just defensively terrible numbers. Power plays awful. But then on the other side of things, they're 4 points out of first in the Atlantic. They can crawl themselves out of here. I don't think the normal where you're at the end of November, correlation is there right now. It's a really odd year, odd looking division. They have a chance to be good, and I it's lucky that they do because of where the division's at, because they can very, very realistically climb out of this hole and start clawing into a much healthier playoff position. And it's very likely that we'll look back at this and go, remember that dog shit month and a half or damn near 2 months of hockey that didn't kill us. And I think that could be the story, but it's going to take that effort that we saw last night with the big boys. And it is a head scratcher that they have trouble getting it when their lineup is a lot better looking.
So when I made that prediction of Ottawa winning the Atlantic Division, I had that in mind. I didn't know what to expect from the Atlantic Division this season. And lo and behold, the Sens without Brady Tkachuk in the lineup are right there in the mix for top spot in the Atlantic Division. A lot of race track remaining, but it's been that type of year, not only in the Atlantic, but in this division where it's just been up and down. Aside from Colorado, by the way, they just don't lose. One regulation loss on the year for Colorado. I think the Leafs have 2 in the last couple days. It's pretty crazy. It is November 21st. Colorado has 1 regulation loss. Our Super Chat charity partner is Sick Kids. Want to make sure your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and 3rd in the world. So I don't know if you caught this yesterday, and I love Twitter just like the best of them, but I got some smoke from Hawks fans yesterday. It was Vegas fans last week. This week's it's Hawks fans. All I did was merely state that, Pavel Mintyukov, #1, who's apparently wants out. He's a young defenseman with the Anaheim Ducks, wants out. And I said, if I'm the Leafs, 2 guys I want right now are in Chicago, Artem Levshinov or Sam Rinzel. And I made the mistake of misspeaking in my tweet. And I said, I would dangle Easton Cowan for one of those 2 guys. And I fully comprehend that it would take Cowan plus to pluck one of those 2 defensemen out. But I've got Hawks fans in my mentions calling me an idiot, call me every word imaginable. But I just wanted to apologize to Hawks Nation. Love watching that team. Connor Bedard's on a different planet. He was a bit pissed off last night as they blew that game against Seattle. But I think my reasoning behind that is like the Leafs could really use a young defenseman, maybe who shoots right, like one of those 2 guys who can maybe run a power play. Because I'm so tired of watching this power play, and I'm so tired of these guys talking about the power play after the game, saying we're on the right step, we're taking that next step, we're looking better. No, the results are not there. They're 8 for 55 on the power play this season.
Yeah, dipping under 15% is
God.
ugly. And when Austin Matthews is healthy and Nyes, they don't look much better. Again, we've talked about it. I'm surprised they can't come up with different looks that produce more chances. It just seems like they're so easy to shut down for a penalty kill, right? Just kind of play solid, keep them to the outside, and they just don't find anything. JT is the one kind of shining star that's in all situations is getting open, is finding the dirty areas, is like his play in front of the net is just gross. He's just got this hockey IQ and a touch that whether he's tipping one or getting a rebound or burying a quick chance or whatever the situation is, he is the pure leader right now for this depleted group. And it's a good thing they have him because he's a big reason they're keeping him in games and getting some points, even if it's just the single one. But the power play, I don't know what to do. I don't like, I'd like to see when we get Tanev back and when we get Carlo back, if we can relax a little bit about the back end, because they have been atrocious this year, but it's starting to look like they're tidying it up. And it's odd again, because you're down Carlo and Tanev, but again, these other guys are stepping up, and it's just no secret that to crawl yourself out of holes and out of ruts and out of slumps, whether it's as a unit or as a team or as a back end or a forward group, like just tenacity and effort and relentlessness is it's just paramount. You have to have those things to crawl yourself out of it. And I think my one frustration with this team so far this year, and it's why they're sitting in the hole that they're sitting in, is when it's time to respond, they don't respond with any of those things. Unless it's this depleted group that needs to prove themselves, whether it's on this team or in the NHL in general, there it is. And that always leads to good things. So again, waiting to see if they can get healthy. Are they going to go back to their old shit ways where they're just kind of tap dancing through the game, seeing if we can get a win with this effort? Or are they going to buckle down? Because if they do, and they have efforts like that, with a full lineup, we know who's on it, it's good enough to crawl out of this hole, get into the playoffs, and maybe do some damage if they can really get their ducks in a row. We'll see. But yeah, like every time you think about something positive, it's like, yeah, but how about that power play? And again, no reason that the skill on this team can't come up with a better power play than they have. I'm surprised they haven't had more drastic changes, to be honest.
Yeah, don't want to get too horny about it, but that's now, I think, 3 consecutive games, if you want to include the Chicago one, where we feel a bit better. And last night specifically, I saw buy-in. I saw a Craig Berube coached hockey club for the first time maybe this season. I saw guys finishing checks. I like Quillen. I don't want to take him out of the lineup right now. I know they got some decisions maybe over the next week, probably in that Columbus game, but I can't take Quillen out. Lorenz had a really good game. I thought he was finishing the body. You love to see that. They just looked, as a team, more engaged. And that's Maple Leafs hockey in this era of Maple Leafs hockey, where it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be wild. It's not going to be entertaining, but it's going to be a 3-2, 2-1 type game, low event type hockey. Like, you know, that first period was so funny. A lot of people were tweeting, was that the best first period of the season? I thought it was. Then I had a buddy who was at the game text me and was like, that was the most boring period of hockey. I'm like, that's exactly it. That's exactly what Craig Berube wants. That's exactly how the Maple Leafs want to play. So baby steps, but I think they're taking a step in the right direction, albeit, I mean, numbers are numbers. They've dropped 6 of the last 7, 1-4-2, a big one at the Bell Center against the Montreal Canadiens coming up on Saturday night. Speaking of which, former Hab, former Maple Leaf, Gary Leeman is going to drop by the podcast, Rosie, in about 15 minutes here.
Yeah, it'll be good to take his perspective on what's going on. It's so many takes and so many opinions, and it's funny. You could have some pretty positive ones here that I think that's kind of the sentiment the Leafs nation and fan base and Twitter and all the rest of it has gone through the range of emotions here this season, and some of them were pretty dark. I mean, there's a period of time there where it was real ugly. There was not a positive thing to say about the thing, and then the injuries piled on top, and you know, their season could have been lost in that period in many ways. Luckily, it's not, just with what's going on in the division, and now they're starting to play a little bit more inspiring hockey. And it shows to me, you know, after a loss, and they've lost a couple here, then they're 5 out of 6 and all this, it's like gross numbers in a lot of ways. But I like that the fan base is seeing kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. And again, it's just those things that I was talking about, that effort and emotion and commitment that these guys are all playing, that gives you that feeling of hey, that's more of what we're talking about. And yeah, it might be a little bit more boring, but I mean, what is it exciting to watch them just get funneled with 4-on-0s and 2-on-1s and breakaways and just collapsing defensively? No, I'd rather not be excited by that kind of thing. I'll take boring. And, you know, if we can get all healthy and Nyes and Matthews back and everyone's on that same page and the same engine is driving the thing, you know, you'll get more chances, you'll get more scoring, you'll be helped out on the other side of the rink, and you'll be able to play in the other side of the rink more. And it is kind of nice to see that tighter mindset of the hockey team, where we're committing to XYZ. We're not letting this open and that open. We're not taking these chances. We're not blowing the zone. We're playing more connected, which I think is a big theme in the beginning of the season, just disconnected all over the place. They're starting to tighten it up, and it's, again, moral victories after a loss to talk about that stuff. But I think that's what it looks like. And when we get healthy, if that's the effort that they come out with, I think they're going to find a lot more success down the road here.
It is a results-oriented business. They lost. They got a point. It's a crapshoot, I think, in OT. It could have gone either way. I thought Jack Greaves had himself a really, really good night. It happens a lot. But again, you're right. We're not sugarcoating things. They lost the game. They picked up a point. On to Montreal they go, coming up on Saturday night. So again, Gary Leeman's coming up at the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Leafs One You Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Every time the Leafs play at home, you can get these exclusive deals only on Uber Eats, Firehouse subs, Bogo brisket hat trick, Kibo sushi, Bogo California roll, Shelby shawarma, Bogo traditional wrap. That's right. Buy one, get one. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. And I tell you, Rosie, I don't know about you. I know what I'm craving. And that's I gotta get the camera work here. Can you see it?
You got a fresh delivery.
I'm craving the Kibo sushi, man. That is my go-to. You all know this. I've talked about this for a while. Kibo sushi is my go-to, and that's exactly what I'm craving for lunch here, buddy.
Jeez, my one problem with these spots is I don't really eat for 3 more hours, and it always makes my mouth water and going, God, I could go for some of that right now. But looks like you got yourself a fresh delivery. I might have to dig into my app and get myself a little something for lunch.
Hell yes, fired up and feeling a bit better about this Maple Leafs team, of course. Again, they've dropped 6 of the last 7. Why don't we start with the OT winner? Because Max Domi's getting a lot of grief. I thought it was a back and forth overtime. I thought they gave some guys opportunity. I mean, Tavares and Nylander seemed to be out there for the majority, but it was this potential giveaway by Max Domi that leads to the winner here from Fantilli. What'd you see?
Yeah, I mean that pass down to the slot, it's just one of those ones that my peewees make, and it's just like, did you look before you passed that? Like that could not have been more on the tape of the opposition. That was not the play. That guy's not open. That's a long ways away. Like, move your feet and open some time and space up. There's 3-on-3. No reason to be making that high risk of a pass. So pretty gross turnover. And anytime you turn the puck over in overtime 3-on-3, it's going the other way in a hurry. It's usually an odd man rush. And, Max Domi playing defense, he just takes a look over to see, how the play is developing, and Fantilli blows his doors off. Not a good look. Like, there's not much grosser than your turnover going into the back of your net, let alone overtime, game over. Gross feeling for Max Domi. He hasn't been turning my crank lately. He's a guy that I would like to see step up and really be a bulldog and really be gritty and really be kind of setting the tone for this team and keeping them, starting the games on time, continuing to try to play 60 minutes the right way. Not quite seen it out of him, to be honest. And it was kind of cherry on top highlighted with that pretty gross play there in overtime.
Yeah, especially in OT. And, it's sort of funny how often we talk about overtime, how it's just a puck possession relay. And, he could have probably twirled back and not forced that pass. And next thing you know, it goes on to the hottest guy on the ice's stick. And that's Adam Fantilli. And then again, just the pivot. I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and be armchair analyst. It's another thing to be out there, but you make mistakes. That's what makes 3-on-3 overtime fantastic, right? And not to put it all on Domi, I thought the Leafs in general played a pretty good game, a lot of valiant efforts. I thought Easton Cowan, dude, was phenomenal last night. And credit to Craig Berube, too. I think the one thing we've noticed early on, you played for the guy. If you're playing well, he's going to throw you out there, regardless of your age. You could be 20, you can be 37. And we're seeing that with 35-year-old John Tavares and young buck Easton Cowan, who had an assist, +2, 4 shots on goal. He was everywhere. Set up JT for that tuck there in the third period to tie things up. The versatility is one thing that stands out so far here with Easton Cowan. He started the game. Remember yesterday we talked about when are they going to reunite that line from training camp? Well, they started, and they were really good with Lorentz and Laughton. But then he got promoted after the Maple Leafs inexplicably started Calle Jarnkrok on the top line, who didn't factor in very much. He was off that top line in a hurry. Cowan is promoted, and that trio was really good too. I feel like he elevated JT and Nylander, exactly what you want.
Yeah, and how is he doing it? He is playing with determination, and he's working his ass off. Like, it's just not rocket science. Sometimes when this team struggles, you're watching them, and you're like, how is this your answer to the struggle? Like, are you waiting for magic, or what's going? Like, you got to get on your horse and you got to outwork the other team. You got to win the 50-50 puck battles. You got to get there first. You got to take away time and space. It's just all the simple stuff that, when you're teaching kids to play real hockey and they get out of the U9, I got to skate from one end to the other through every single guy and score. It's like, how boring is that? You're teaching them to use each other and headman the puck, and how important it is to play without the puck, to work without the puck. And Cowan does it, man. There's a reason he got elevated up to that top line. Not only does he get the opportunity, he makes the most of it. He makes that line better. And people are sometimes talking about what's the development plan for him and how much is too much and do you want to sour him. It's like at this point in time with the Leafs, nobody gives a shit how old you are. Nobody cares how much experience you have. No one's thinking about his development. It's how can we give ourselves the best chance to win tonight? And this kid is providing an effort that does exactly that. Hence him getting promoted, playing 20 minutes. He just looks good out there. And the chances he's had too offensively, I'm surprised he hasn't buried more. And I think he mentioned that himself, going, I have to tuck some of these chances that I'm getting. He's like getting to the point where you're talking about him being a little bit stymied right now. But I mean, that aside, you're getting the chances, you're doing the right things if they're there. And I think that with his skill set, before long, that levee will crack and he's gonna put pucks in the back of the net. And again, with them depleted like this, it's whoever wants to show up and give the effort that they need and play the committed hockey is going to get the opportunity. That's Easton Cowan in spades right now.
He's very due. I agree with you. And to your point, even when guys get back into the lineup, I think there's opportunity. I mean, it's crystal clear there is opportunity in that top six, maybe even on the top line right wing. I mean, everybody's had a chance. Nobody's grabbed that yet. And maybe Cowan's a guy who sticks, but I was blown away with his effort last night. Again, he stood out. JT stood out. Nylander was really engaged. I think the ironic part about it, Rosie, Nylander might have played his best game of the season, didn't pick up a point, which means the personal point streak over. I think it was at 14 games. It's funny how it works out sometimes in this game.
Yeah, it does. With Willie, there's two things. There's two things that are out there, and you can get one or the other sometimes. And I'm really looking to have a real solid, consistent look at having both. And it's his dynamic offense, getting on the score sheet. He's ridiculous. The skill level is through the roof. He's one of the best players in the world in that sense of things. And where sometimes he gets in trouble is his, lackadaisical effort sometimes, and commitment to D and back checking and having that effort and energy on the other side of the puck is one sometimes area that he can get knocked on. He was doing all the right things last night. He was playing the right kind of hockey, and I hope he's not deterred by playing that kind of hockey and not getting on the score sheet and having his streak broken up. I never worry about Willie on the offensive side of things. You give him chances, he's going to connect with it. It's sometimes he gets 1-1, but you're like, God, Willie was bad tonight. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
People get pissed off and how dare you, like, now that Marner's gone, is Willie just going to be your whipping boy? And why does the guy with this many points in this many games get anything said to him? Well, you're in a leadership position. You have a team that struggles with playing a certain way and is trying very hard to create an identity. And it's not doing it in little spurts. It's every single night showing up, committed to playing a certain way, and you lead the charge there. And of course, yeah, you're still going to be expected to get your points. And I don't think it's unfair to say that about Willie. And I mean, the times that you see Craig Berube talking to him during a game or even yelling at him, it's like, dude, I know you can get a goal in an apple tonight. That's great. And you're going to be a big part of the 2 goals we score. But if we allow 4, like what is it for? And if some of it's on the heels of your lackadaisical play on the other side of the puck, like, that needs to be addressed, So it was great to see him play, a solid game and more responsible hockey. And unfortunately, doing it, his streak came to an end. I don't think that things correlate. He is good enough to play committed hockey, and the way Craig Berube wants, he's still going to get his cookies and get his offensive chances. In fact, you play that way solid and lead the charge with it and set an example and have everyone else behind you follow suit, you will be playing in the offensive zone more, and you can do your thing, Willie.
Bingo. Very, very engaged. I know I've been a bit hard and tough on Willie the last little while. I thought he was awesome last night. I know he doesn't pick up a point, but that's beside the point. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I don't think it's too rich to say that was Scott Laughton's best game as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The guy was everywhere. He was chomping at the bit. He was frothing from the mouth. He had missed 5 games with an upper body injury. Comes back, 4 shots on goal. 1 hit, 1 block, 17-22. That block was monstrous. Like, the guy just came back a month ago from a broken foot, blocking a shot in the preseason, and he jumps in front of a clapper on a Columbus power play or just after a power play. Like, I don't know. It's heart personified, and right there is why the Maple Leafs acquired Scott Laughton. He has he has looked out of place, I think, early on in his tenure with the Maple Leafs, unsure of himself. He was very sure of himself last night against Columbus.
Yeah, I don't know what the stats would show, but when he's in the lineup, I feel like he just rounds it out really well or something, or like he's kind of the leader of the bottom six. It's hard to put it into words, but when he's out, it seems like guys are just floating around that bottom six. There's no staple. Structure gets lost. Line combinations or who the hell knows. And then in comes Scott Laughton, and it just kind of anchors that bottom six, it feels like. And yeah, yesterday, sometimes when a guy like him is not being noticed, it's kind of always a step behind. He's chasing. He's just not quite there, half a second off. And then when he's playing like last night, he's ahead of the game. He's anticipating. He's getting there first. And even just little things like taking away the time and space of the defensemen, making their breakouts hard, making them bobble it and jumble it and kind of throw hopers around in the neutral zone. It's all the kind of stuff that you need to break the other team down, cause havoc in their game plan and their strategy. And ultimately you've got the guys to jump on those pucks and start playing in the offensive zone. And it looked good last night. And it all comes down to driving your legs and coming with effort and playing with intensity. It's this team, if they just had that throughout the beginning of the season, they wouldn't be in this mess. It's the only thing lacking sometimes. And if we can get all the big boys in and get healthy and have the missing players that we have, from our goaltender to our defense to our high-end players up front, this season could get turned around in a hurry. It really could.
Yeah, look at the optimism for us here as we head into this game against Montreal. But it's true. I mean, you make some really, really good points. I think when you look at Laughton, very noticeable on the PK too. He was using his jets last night, and he's a physical type, gritty type guy when he wants to be. I like the puck pressure. Like he just brings a different dynamic, and you sort of see, like, watching that game, again, small sample size, but a lot of the way he played in the preseason too, it was very, very similar. Just what he can bring to the table when he's doing his thing, right? I think you were the first to bring up last year. Just look a bit lost, maybe a bit overwhelmed. And if they can get Laughton playing that consistent in that way for, a good chunk of the season moving forward, I think they're going to be in a really good spot. And I think obviously when he's in the lineup, he slots in very well where they need him. And maybe that's 3C right now.
Yeah, I think that, between, when you get Waugh back as well and Dakota Joshua and where these guys fit, when Laughton's in the lineup, it seems to slot everyone much nicer. And it seems to get the line combinations to where I think Berube wants them. They've been scrambling around with line combinations like crazy all season long, trying to find it. Injuries have been a huge part of that. But when Scott Laughton's in the lineup, I think it settles that down a little bit.
In support of Sick Kids, Shane Brom, thank you so much for the super chat. Team looked a lot better yesterday. Speed kills. I agree with you on that front, Shane. At the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as we bring in today's guest, former Hab, former Maple Leaf. We're also really looking forward to this game, Bell Center, Saturday night. It is Gary Leeman. Gary, thank you so much for doing this. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. We're just recapping this game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Obviously, they want to pick up 2 points. They pick up one. Fantelli, nice little berry there from Nobleton. It always gets me going every time. A local product steps up to the plate at Scotiabank Arena. But what was your takeaway from that OT loss?
Well, there was certainly a better effort, the last couple games. And I think that's all you can ask for at this point. They've made a lot of changes, and as you guys are talking about, there's been a lot of injuries. The goaltending, without Wall there to split games, maybe a little bit more with Stolarz, that put maybe a little bit too much pressure on him physically. Now, I think he's going to be out for a little bit longer, but it's a better effort, and I guess that's all you can really ask for at this point.
Yeah, and it's kind of odd because, through that tumultuous end of October, beginning of November, the play, that's all anyone was looking for was that effort. And then lo and behold, sometimes it seems like it takes them to be depleted and have their back against the wall for them to realize, oh man, we're going to have to give a monster effort tonight to be in this game. And then they play a more solid hockey game, more Berube hockey, and they're in it a little bit more, even though they didn't get both points. Is that kind of frustrating to you, or do you take it as a positive that they can dig deep and find that?
Yeah, you have to take it as a positive. I think, from right from the get go, obviously the gaping hole that Marner's left, nobody's going to come in and fill that with new players means new chemistry. And, it takes time when there's injuries, like you were just saying before, when you're trying different line combinations all the time, and maybe with the lack of games in the preseason, this is going to be kind of the new norm, where teams, I've never seen uh, teams start so slow. Like, you look around the whole division, the league, and it's not the kind of hockey we're used to seeing right from the beginning of the season. And then add in the changes, and add in maybe a new type of system. I think Chief wants to play. So it's kind of like training camp in a sense, but um, the effort wasn't there early, and they're paying for it. Jobs are up for grabs, and when you're not on the inside, you don't really know what's going on. So, but from watching where we watch from, you can tell they're trying to make things work, but they don't have anything solid in place yet.
As somebody who played the position, what's your thought on the blue line right now? Obviously, it's been a mixed bag. As a team in general, not to place it just on the blue line, it's been a work in progress, I would say, this season. But what have you seen from the blue line, and what gives you the expectation they could figure this out too?
Um, I like this Stetcher kid. He seems like he's adding a little bit of speed. Sometimes when you get bigger, you get a little bit slower. Sometimes I'm not saying that they're slow individually, but maybe as a group. Um, and again, it's change for anybody that's coming in, anybody new that's coming in. You're playing a new system. It takes some time to figure it out. You've got a new partner. Their D has been adequate. Have they been great? Probably not. But again, it's going to take a little bit of time.
And you mentioned their start not being there. I mean, so many times throughout this season, we expected a big response from the group and just flat out didn't have it. Like, you know what a pregame routine is like? You got the whole day to focus and prepare solely for the drop of the puck. And to not have it so many times with this group, like if you're Craig Berube, what's the best way in your mind to get that group to be ready when the puck drops?
Well, he doesn't have a crystal ball. He doesn't know if guys aren't going to put the effort in. It's solely on the player. The coach. The coach. This guy is a good communicator. He was a very good teammate. He just expects an honest game from you, and that means you get yourself ready, no matter what line you're on, no matter how much time you're playing. That's your responsibility as a professional. Hockey's the same as when we were kids. You know, it's one-on-one battles all over the ice. And that's what you need to know going into the game. I think coaching structure is there for when one-on-one battles are lost. But it clearly looked like they weren't fast enough or not willing enough the first number of games. I'm not going to say every game. The last two games, after he's actually cracked the whip through the media, they've responded in a better way. Have they figured it out? Well, they don't. Like I said before, they're not filling the big hole, but the guys that are there have to realize, you can't let uh, many games go by where you're not. Every game you got to give her. So they didn't. The last couple of games, they've been way better.
The big thing for me, guys, has been the crease being solidified a bit here. I think Joseph Wall has made some really, really good stops in the first 3 games here since coming back, making his season debut. Gary, as a former player, how much belief can a hot goalie actually inject into a fragile team the way the Maple Leafs have been so far this season?
Well, it could very well start with a goaltender standing on his head and showing guys, this is what we need to play desperate hockey, and I'm doing my best, and you can really uh, get a great feeling off not just your goaltender, but anybody that is superseding what you're expecting. You just look at how John Tavares has acted as a leader on this team. Whether he has a C or not, he's the leader as far as what he's doing night after night. And it shouldn't matter, whether you've got a letter on your jersey or not. And you shouldn't have to follow that. But that's a great example if you're not following it. So it's up to everybody individually, and they've got pieces. They're a good team. They need to work hard every night and make it matter more than it's appeared.
And looking forward to Saturday night, they go to the Bell Center to face the Canadiens. You've played for both franchises and understand the weight of that rivalry. What are you looking to see out of both teams with the Montreal Canadiens kind of stutter stepping a little bit here recently? What are you looking for out of Saturday night?
Well, there's nothing like Toronto and Montreal going at it on a Saturday night in Canada, and I'm expecting both teams to rise to the occasion, enjoy it. It's it's a great rivalry, and I'm sure Montreal will the fans will make that place electric, and Rosie, as you played, when you're in other barns that are very energetic, it's contagious to the away team too. So the Leafs have to use that, and I expect a great game.
Yeah, that's exactly why right after the show, I'm driving down to Montreal. I'm not going to miss that game, man. Bell Center. I know the Habs are banged up. Jake Evans leaves that game last night as well. It's going to be the Marlies against the Rocket. But I think you're going to see some desperation here, Gary, because I think you look at this Maple Leafs team. We talked everything about losing points to start the season. They got to start to build momentum. So with that in mind, Craig Berube, of course, you talked about it, your former teammate. What's the messaging in the room as they move forward here? Obviously very depleted still.
Well, it's opportunity, guys. There's an opportunity here. It's one step at a time. It's one game at a time. It's one shift at a time. And we can't look. Let's not. Let's stay focused on our challenge here. And tonight's challenge is the Montreal Canadiens. We expect this from them, and this is what we have to do to counter that, or we have to, take the play to them. So, you're not in the dressing room getting the message. We aren't, but it's pretty simple. Just be ready, and I think they can. I think they can build off a win in Montreal. I think they're already on that path right now. The last couple of games, I think they're probably feeling that the heat's a little bit less because of the effort. And if you're honest with yourself, you're going to feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Now, from training camp until now, I think it's been kind of shocking for a lot of people that follow this team. They didn't expect them to be in this position, not far away from a playoff spot in some ways, but they've also got some help from this division as well. And they're not that far out of it. After the disastrous start, what's your prediction? Do these guys get it together and make the playoffs?
I think they do. I was quite surprised to see the effort more than anything, or the lack of. I knew there was going to be a big change in losing who I figured was their. If he wasn't their best player, he was definitely one of the best players in the league. And that's a big change. That's a big loss, but there's opportunity now, and they have very good goaltending if they can stay healthy. And the new pieces, when they get used to their new surroundings and teammates and what's expected, I believe that with the lack of competition right now in their division, it would have been nice that they took advantage of it to this point, but I still believe that they have what it takes to get to the playoffs.
Tell you what, Gary, could really use you on the power play right now. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the game coming up on Saturday. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Gary.
Anytime. That's Gary Leeman. And the score, of course, elite company, man. Like, that is very, very elite company. I think he's one of 4 Leafs in history of the franchise, great franchise, to score 50 times in one season.
As a D-man, he's got to be the only D-man to tuck 50.
Not bad, eh?
That's gross, man. Yeah, it's the same theme that he kept saying is, and it's refreshing to hear because there's all these excuses and shit going around. The effort wasn't there, like through that 5-game skid and some of those dropped games. And I keep going back to the back-to-back in Detroit there early in the season. Like, are you kidding me with the efforts they're displaying? Like, do you really just think you just tie them up and go out there and the wins pile on? Like, it's the National Hockey League. And it's refreshing to hear he had the same take, because I've just been sitting there going, I know these guys care. It's their livelihood. It's their careers. It's their legacy, all that stuff. I know they care about the result, but they don't seem to care enough to leave it all out there. Like, there's no way that to a man, every guy can say, that was my best effort. I gave it everything I had throughout so many of those ugly games when they were healthy and had the stars in there. And not to harp on the past, but when Auston Matthews gets healthy and we get Nyes back in there, like, Matthews has got to lead this team, and it's got to be with vigor and effort. And he's got to be a monster, not a mouse out there. I know that he can get on the score sheet and got that big shot and everything, but like, the other parts of the games and away from the puck and, your effort level and the way you're moving and the way you're applying yourself away from the puck and defensively, it's got to be there. And I'm really looking forward, because my one fear is that they get healthy and everyone's back and they go back to like subpar efforts and are dropping games they absolutely should win. They're not starting on time. They're getting behind the 8 ball. Like, we can't have any more of that. And I hope that, going through this adversity and their record being what it is, they're going to learn here and realize what it takes to bring your best effort every night and what that leads to. So, yeah, hearing what Gary said, it's like, yeah, the effort wasn't there. And we're seeing it now as a positive with the depleted lineup, and they're more in games than they have been when they were healthy. So interesting to see. It does bring back frustrations to be like, you guys were you guys were fully capable of being at the top of this division. You just didn't bother to fucking try your hardest and leave it all out there throughout the month of October and early November. It's simply unacceptable, to be honest with you. It's the one thing that pisses me off. It pisses me off at every level of hockey when guys don't try their hardest. It's like, how can you leave the rink with your head held high? I don't get it.
It really is sickening. I think you're so right that if the Maple Leafs found a way to actually play hockey in the first 6 weeks of the season, they could be up 10 points for first in the Atlantic Division. Nobody around them has played well. Even Montreal has come back to reality here. Detroit's been a mixed bag. Boston's been a great story, but they had a chance to grab this division by the balls. And I'm right there with you. I'm positive, Nick, today, and I'm enthusiastic and feeling optimistic about the direction, especially with all the injuries. But like, where the fuck was that 3 weeks ago? Where was that 4 weeks ago? Like, it makes no sense how you could play that way. And you show your hand, don't you? Like, you watch that game and like every guy's giving it their all. Like, Willie's finishing checks and he's lifting sticks and he's back checking. And then, for example, like, you watch a game, the first 2 periods against Pittsburgh, you're like, there's no way they were trying in that game.
Yeah, it's mind-numbing. And like with Willie, yeah, I know you play a lot and you get tired and you want to have energy, in the last 10 minutes of the third or in overtime. Like, yeah. But like when you see Willie like exerting himself and giving that last bit of effort on a play that's not going to lead to a puck going in the back of the net. It's in the other zones. It's like inspiring, and you're like, there it is. And to see Willie do it, who has a tendency to maybe take that part of the shift off and maybe not quite, and just let that guy go to the D-man and have him handle it. To see him doing it, I mean, it's everything that this team needs, and you need Matthews doing it. And I'm now convinced that Nye's not quite looking himself throughout the beginning of the season. He's probably been battling an injury, and if he can come back at 100% and be that bulldozer that he is, like, the sky is still the limit for this team. It's just so frustrating when the storyline is dropped one tonight, didn't look like they gave their all-out effort. Like, in that market at this point in time, with where this team is, it is again shocking. I never had the luxury of taking nights off or being able to, get away with not giving my best effort. Just didn't have it. I envied the guys that could. But in this market, with this team, with what they're going through at the main points, the main body of work for this season, it blows my bloody mind with Craig Berube as your head coach that effort could even be questioned, and I think the market's showing right now that if you give an honest effort where you're watching going, God damn, did those guys try from start to finish? That's all they ever ask. Like, I can deal with losing. What I can't deal with is not giving your honest effort. And in that market, again, it blows my mind that it even comes up.
I always say it's the way they lose, right? It is the way that team loses. And again, we laugh and have done this show for just over 3.5 years now. And we laugh at some of the ways this team has lost. I even talked prior to doing this show. I was in the building when they lost Jose Moni Driver. Like, they just find weird ways to lose and uninspired ways to lose. And that's all we ask for. I mean, not to compare the two, but the Blue Jays, like, they didn't win it all, but you come away from that season being like, shit, what a team. They play together. They love each other. They go to bat for each other. They work their bags off. And I just, sometimes you watch this Leafs team and you're like, why are they even here mentally tonight? Like, you ask that question quite a bit. But again, feeling positive. Good game here against Columbus. You move on to the Montreal game at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I don't know what it is with injuries in this market, and I think Ray Ferraro did a good job of breaking down how it happens and works behind the scenes, and he made some good points that, like, guys handle injuries a bit different than others, but a bit concerned about Stolarz, like Craig Berube yesterday revealing he hasn't even stepped on the ice since suffering that upper body injury in Boston. The direct quote was, "It's obviously worse than we thought. He's not ready to get on the ice yet and do the things that he needed to do." But again, watching the panel yesterday, Darren Dreger alluded to the fact that we could see, fingers crossed, Stoli back in the mix maybe at some point next week, which is great.
Well, I sure hope so. I think that could solve a lot of problems, is getting our two goaltenders back playing goalie. It's always concerning. I'm always prepared for it to be longer than they say. With the Leafs loving to, like, control the narrative and not have things get out of control and be a little bit cagey about the information they give out about injuries, I'm kind of surprised they just don't go on the longer end of things and then, like, surprise the fans with, he's back sooner than we thought. Like, why not just err on the side of caution with saying, it might be a couple of weeks, even though, you're thinking he's probably, hopefully, day to day. Like, why not just err on the side of that? Because it gets kind of old seeing, well, he's not even skating and he's in Germany. Like, all the things we've gone through with the injuries. Where he went to Germany, didn't he, Matthews? But yeah. And then Matthews again, like, he's just on the like, no one's, people are getting pretty comfortable with him just being on the shelf. Like, it's normal.
It's a new norm. It's
a new norm. It's
wild.
It's not ideal, man. But Stoli, sorry to get off track, is going to be huge to get back in. It's with him out there. And I'm not going to say he got hung out to dry, but certainly put in a position he's not familiar with. Didn't exactly have the performances that we know he has in him. If he can call it his buddy back, who's very much back, Wohl, and a big reason why they are playing better, I think that could just start in the crease and just reverberate through the rest of the lineup with just more confidence. starting better, getting the lead. Like, how many times this season are they down 1-0 to start the game? It's like clockwork at times. So yeah, he's got to get skating first before he can get back in the lineup. And every day that goes by that he's not on the ice is longer that he's going to take to get, his conditioning and his timing and get back to game readiness. So sooner than later, I sure as hell hope. But again, I have no idea.
Again, we're treading carefully. It is the Maple Leafs. They're very inconsistent, but it seems like the game is headed in the right direction. And now we look forward to this game against the Habs. I don't know if you caught this last night, but Montreal surrendered an 8th spot. They got zero confidence right now in between the pipes. My cousin's losing his mind. Big Habs fan. He's like, how does Samuel Montembeault go on the Four Nations team now to having no confidence? Then Dobish cries after going 7-0, and he gets lit up last night. Montreal has allowed 23 goals in their last 4 home games. Why do we bring this up? The Leafs visit the Bell Center coming up on Saturday night. Both teams have been really, really struggling. Toronto dropped 6 of 7. Montreal's dropped 5 in a row, 0-4-1. So the same stretch the Maple Leafs are playing off of. But as Gary brought up, I expect both teams to rise up to the occasion. Could be 2 watered-down rosters. Montreal's entire, I think, third line's out. Jake Evans got banged up, took a rough shot last night. So we could see a lot of American leaguers, but rest assured, Saturday night, Bell Center, there's no better feeling, right? You've lived it.
Yeah, it is awesome. I went out for my buddy's 40th last night, and they were talking about different rinks and what's to play in. And the Bell Center's one of the best, man. It's
Spine-tingling,
electric. Man. It's where you can feel the noise and the energy. You can physically feel it on your body, and you're like, good God. And you don't think it can get any louder, and then it does. And it's great as, the opposition too. Like, you can feed off of that, and it can get your juices going. And as we talk today about, the positives of that game, like the effort and the energy and, the banging and the hitting and the blocking the shots and the lifting the sticks and back checking and the attention to detail, you feed off that energy and you come into a team that's trying to find themselves. I think they're a really good team. They've shown it this season. They're young. They're up and coming. I think they're going to be something for this division to really have to deal with in the near future. But they're floundering right now, and they're trying to find their game. So they're going to be digging in to give their best effort. It could be a hell of a game. But again, all I want to see is the same effort that comes out of this group. And again, they are depleted and everyone's getting opportunity right now. So there's no reason that it's not going to be there. It would be a monster win to beat them in the Bell Center and start to really get some building blocks of positivity going where they're starting to figure out who they are. And as guys start to trickle back into the lineup, I hope that just does nothing but continue. They will claw themselves out of this hole if they get healthy and continue to play with that effort.
I really want them to grab this game because then after you don't play until Wednesday in Columbus, a house of horrors. Like, I'm resigned to the fact they're going to lose that game or maybe pick up 1 point. So you need this one, okay? Because then you don't win this one, then you drop 7 of 8. You got Columbus on the horizon, but it's the first of 6 in a row. I don't want to call it a road trip because they play in Montreal. They're going to go back home after the game against Montreal on Saturday, then go out to Columbus Tuesday night. But 6 in a row. Their next home game is December 6th against the Montreal Canadiens. So they're gone for a couple of weeks here. They got to sort this thing out. Like, this is one crucial 6-game stretch, I would say.
I like it. Yeah, they have been at home forever, and they have not been playing very consistent.
Are you the guy calling a night for the boys? Like, you get a night off, or like, boys, we're getting after it a bit. Are you the guy to set that up, or what?
I don't know if I'd set it up, but I'd certainly be all for it, and I'll be there. But usually one of the big boys will set something up. But 100%, like, just a different look. Get in the hotel, get away from your routine, get around each other, have some laughs, realize you really like this guy, and realize I want to make sure I'm at dinner with this guy, that guy. Practicing here and there. They're a little bit lighter when you're on the road. You're traveling, your schedule gets changed a little bit. It can just jumble up the routine and the mindset, and they have been in the same routine of playing at home, and they have not had a lot of success. As you mentioned, their record, I think it's a good thing to get them on the road and get them mixing it up. Yes, you're gonna have some dinners. I hope they go out for some beers. I hope they have some laughs. I hope they have a late night here or there. I hope they're all talking in the morning about what happened last night, some story here, there, or the other thing. Like, get on the road, get the boys gelling, get that team camaraderie going, and if anything else, a different look than what they've had, as there's just been a plethora of home games here and they have not been finding a lot of success with it. Any change, I'm all about.
Yeah, they haven't been good on the road. I want to bring that up. They're
True.
1-5-0 in 6 road games, but yeah, go Leafs, go. It's time for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use code NATION. That's NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. I'm looking ahead to the game. I'm going Saturday night. Can't wait. The Bell Center. If there's one guy on the Leafs who loves playing the Habs, I don't have the numbers in front of me, it's Willie Nylander. And he's starting to get a bit horny again. So I'm going to take a Nylander ATG. I'm playing the shot props. He had 6 shots on goal last night. So I think he gets over 2.5, even the 3.5 number I would look at. And another guy I'm looking at is Easton Cowan. You talked about it earlier, man. He has been super, super due. And I'm sorry for taking your guy and your call away, but I think he's very due for a goal here.
Yeah, that was my thing. And just straight and simple, anytime goal, Easton Cowan. I think the guy's chomping at the bit, playing really good hockey, getting rewarded for it. I imagine he's going to stay on that top line with Nylander and Tavares, and with those guys playing a full game together. I think he's going to pot one because he is due. He is aware of it, and I think I don't think he's gripping the stick yet. I think he's licking his lips at the opportunities he's getting, and he's going to bury in the Bell Center on Saturday.
I love it. Rosie, that's it for another week here of Leafs Morning Take. We look ahead to the Monday edition coming up. Mike Johnson's going to drop by, former Hab, former Toronto Maple Leaf, now with TSN, does some awesome work as well with the NHL Network. We're going to get his analysis on the Maple Leafs through about 22 games in this season. So thank you to Gary Leeman. And just a bit of foreshadowing. Got some monster guests coming up on the show next week. So looking forward to that too here.
Ooh, stay tuned. I didn't even realize there's a show Friday. Interesting. Good. I too like to see what guests are coming down the barrel, but it'd be nice to start with Mike Johnson, and then we'll see. I'm trying to think. Nonetheless, yeah, guests are a big part of this thing. We love having them, picking their brain, getting their perspective. Lots of guys who know what they're talking about. So yeah, another week in the books. Really looking forward to this Montreal matchup on Saturday, and we will reconvene on Monday.
I'm going to have a full recap of the festivities coming up on Monday. And I'm not packing a jersey. I'm not going to be jersey guy, but I'm sitting in the building. I'm going with a buddy and my cousin who's a Habs fan. We're sitting in the lower bowl, and I'm not going to be jersey guy. If I had the Jay Rosehill jersey, I'd bring it, but I don't have it, unfortunately.
You'd get booed heavily for that one, I think. If anyone even
knew. Is that a custom jersey, sir?
I just think of Subban when I think of playing in the Bell Center. Subban was dancing around. Even in the minors when he was coming up, I would just try to catch him and clock him. And we had this little thing where we'd kind of look at each other because he knew I was always trying to come for him. I caught him a couple of times, but old PK brings up Bell Center memories.
Oh, man, I've watched so many games in that building. It's electric, even from a fan perspective. We love Scotiabank Arena, but this is night and day. This is Saturday night. It's game 20, whatever, of the season, and the fans are going to be ready to go. And there's going to be a lot of blue and white there, too. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to Mike Johnson and Gary Leeman. Thank you so much for dropping by the podcast today. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you to producer Vic. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk on Monday. Have a great weekend. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.